feed where the reels unwind. Off the real podcast, digging deep in the grind. 80 flicks, low cash, big dreams in the frame. No blockbuster hype, just the realest in the game. Reviews so sharp, we cut through the noise, breaking down the shots.
So if you had told me at the start of the year that one of the most fun movies I would watch this year had Cuba Gooding Jr.'s kid in it, and one of those kids from Big Daddy, I would have called you an absolute psychopath. That's never going to happen. Guess what? That movie's called Under Fire, and it is actually directed by Stephen C. Miller, who brought out Werewolves a few months back with Frank Grillo. And here he is with like a buddy sort of drug-fueled kind of gun-fu mental police kind of thing, and it became one of the most fun movies I've watched this year. We could be on the precipice of like a new Lethal Weapon. You got two guys who shouldn't be together, they are together, it shouldn't work, but it absolutely works. We're talking about a movie called Under Fire. My name is Kevin Halden. This is Nerdly Presents Off the Reel. It's an off the reel review of the movie Under Fire, directed by Stephen C. Miller. A little bit more on him in a moment. What I'm going to do is what I normally do, and that is to talk about the plot of the movie with as few spoilers as humanly possible. Then I'll get into the cast and crew of the movie. Then we'll talk a little bit about what I did and didn't like about the movie. And then I'll get into my final Nerdly Presents Off the Reel rating, review, rating, whatever it is. We'll get to that at the end. But don't forget, there may be somebody over on the website, nerdly.co.uk, your favourite British home for all of your news, reviews, and exclusive interviews, who has also watched this movie, who has also reviewed this movie, and also has their own voice, their own opinions, and own thoughts on the movie Under Fire. So, yes, let's get into the plot, and I will open up with the IMDb synopsis, and we'll go from there. And IMDb would have you believe that at a Mexican border, dealers Griff and Abbott meet for an exchange. Both unexpectedly flash their badges. Griff's an FBI agent, Abbott's a DEA agent, revealing they're unknowingly working the same case. So when we do open up the movie, we meet agents Griff and Abbott, Mason Gooding and Dylan Sprouse. But we don't know that they're agents or that they're law enforcement at this point. They're just two guys who are out to make a drug deal. Delgado's going to take them to the big boss man, who turns out to be none other than Emilio Rivera from Sons of Anarchy fame. I love the fact that we see him in this movie. But when they get there, they're not picking up the coke that they think they're picking up. They end up picking up a whole bunch of cash. And what Emilio Rivera says is, well, you need to go to this place with this cash and you'll get the coke when you get there. On the way there, they're going through like border control and they meet Vasquez. Vasquez is like a DEA border control agent, and she has a little bit of a thing going on with Mason Gooding, which is kind of like, you know, we're gonna have some like sexy time. That's totally cool. I'm okay with that. And really all this is doing is setting up who our characters are, who Mason Gooding knows and who Dylan Sprouse is, who's kind of rocking this whole Mickey Knox kind of natural born killer's glasses look. I wasn't buying it, and he does reference at one point in the movie how stupid that look is, but he is undercover. So they go to the drop-off point where Delgado is coming to them with the drugs, they're going to him with the money, they end up in a big circle and there's a little bit of a standoff, and they both pull their guns out and they're like, freeze, bitch, DEA, FBI, don't move or I'll blast you. They've both got badges, they are both law enforcement, and that's when they realize that each other are undercover. But then the next thing you know, a sniper starts taking out all the drug dealers. We have a sniper up on the hill, now they are pinned down in this little area, and that's where we're going to spend the bulk of the movie. And the sniper is not going to let them leave. It sounds like he wants the money, he wants the coke, but most of all, he wants them dead. So there's a little bit of double crossing, a little bit of betraying coming from the drug dealers. The sniper's up there doing his own thing. They kind of are betraying each other a little bit without really knowing it, but now they're going to have to work together, and that's that. Now, what I will say before I get into anything else is that moment when the sniper starts shooting everyone. Shit! What a moment in the movie this is. We see bullets going through people's cheeks and coming out the other side. We see legs getting blown to bits. We see arms getting shot. We see heads getting done in. It's a lot of VFX, but honestly, totally works, and it fits the movie. Because what this movie is, from start to finish, is an absolutely hodgepodge, batshit crazy, cockamamie shenanigans movie. It doesn't really fall into any one real category at any one real time. It just does a little bit of everything, and it does everything pretty well. So let's get into the cast and crew. And I've already mentioned our two main guys. Mason Gooding, who is the son of Cuba Gooding Jr. I have been watching this kid for a little while now. He started popping up in the Scream movies. He did that movie Heart Eyes. I didn't love Heart Eyes, but he was quite good in it. I like Mason Gooding in this movie. I like him in a lot of other movies that he's done. In this movie, though, it kind of feels like his movie. He is the action star of this movie. He gets a lot of good one-liners. Dylan Sprouse gets more of the comedic lines, and that's totally fine. But honestly, I've got high hopes for Mason Gooding as an actor, and in this film, we see a lot of Rod Tidwell. I'm just going to put it out there. Dylan Sprouse as Griff, yeah, I loved him again. He is quite Mel Gibson, if you know what I mean. He is kind of doing that Riggs role. He's a little bit out there. He's a little bit crazy. He probably does eat a bullet for breakfast. But in this movie, he just doesn't really get it, but does get it. The two of them play really, really well together. They are so good with the chemistry, with the banter. Stephen C. Miller has brought these two guys together and unknowingly, I think unknowingly, has struck gold. Odette Annable plays Vasquez. She's not in it a great deal. She kind of pops up at the border control bit and then she comes to help the guys out later on in the movie. Austin North, I believe, is the sniper. He does the voice of the sniper. We hear mostly his voice throughout. Don't get me wrong, it's not like Phone Booth when Kiefer Sutherland starts talking and straight away you know it's Kiefer Sutherland. That's just the most recognizable voice in the movie. However, Austin North does have a pretty cool, pretty charismatic voice. And when he has our heroes kind of pinned down, I was totally there for it. I thought this guy knows what he's doing. He can clearly work his way around a gun, and that's all cool. And then Emilio Rivera. I'm always happy to see Alvarez in a movie, and to see him popping up in this movie, I was totally down for that. Let's start getting into what I did and didn't like. But first of all, Stephen C. Miller on directing duties. I am a fan of Stephen C. Miller. I watched Werewolves a little while back with Frank Grillo. I reviewed that. I thought that was a really cool out there movie. In the Line of Duty, even further back with Aaron Eckhart, if I remember correctly. Cracking little movie. I did enjoy that. And Escape Plan 2, part of that Escape Plan franchise. Another movie that I've seen that he made that I did like. This one felt like dude was having fun, putting things out there. Like, he had ideas in his head. Like that scene where the sniper starts picking off everyone. I don't know where ideas like that come from, but when you start seeing the bullets flying around and going through people's cheeks, and you see what he's done with like the blood pissing out of the guy's face, unbelievable. And then when they shoot the arm and the arm kind of comes hanging off and all that, I just thought this whole thing was so stylized. The way people are flying around kind of made it feel like a little bit of a John Wick movie. Michael Bay, Jerry Bruckheimer sort of camera movements, Bad Boy style moving around. That's another movie this made me think of. And I just loved the chaotic nature of these two characters and the situation they're in. The music felt right. It got really crazy and frenetic and chaos style at times. And what I will say though, and this is something that I didn't like, some of it I can suspend my disbelief. I really can. Every now and then something happens in this movie that I'm just sat there going, really, dude? That's what we're doing? There's like a bit where Mason Gooding needs to like go across the compound to get to the cash or the drugs or whatever it is. He needs to get there, so he puts like all the body armor, all the bulletproof vests, all that kind of thing on him, like a hazmat suit or something like that. And I'm standing there thinking, dude's standing up right now. They're both kind of just standing up out in the open. The van they're hiding behind isn't actually that big. That sniper, as good as he is from what we've seen, the way he's picking people off, he could easily have taken them out by now. That's fine. I can suspend that a little bit. But when Mason goes across the compound to get to the drugs or the cash, Dylan Sprouse does one of those awesome, like, Mike Lowry kind of jumping out and shoots the actual scope on the sniper rifle and actually breaks the glass. And I'm sitting there like, no. You did not make that shot. You did not just make that shot. But again, I was enjoying the movie. I was in the moment. So I kind of just have to let that slide. One of the things I genuinely loved, just the banter, just the chemistry. I think these two guys have great chemistry. Like, I know they did that Lethal Weapon series, like the TV show, a little while back. We could absolutely do that shit again, because the chemistry on Mason Gooding and Dylan Sprouse is there for everyone to see. I thought they were excellent. If Stephen C. Miller wants to make another movie, if he wants to make an Under Fire 2, Under Fire Harder, if he wants to do that, I am watching that movie, because these two guys absolutely smashed it. It was just a good, fun movie. I might as well just get into my final Nerdly Presents Off the Reel review rating, and honestly, is this movie perfect? No, it's not perfect. No movie is perfect, and I would never say that any movie is perfect. I do still give movies 5 out of 5, even though they are not absolutely perfect. With this movie, though, I am going to give it a 4.5 out of 5, and that's because, honestly, selfishly, I want to see another one. I will 100% watch this movie again. I will absolutely be recommending this movie to people who just want to shut their brain off and have some fun. It sometimes doesn't make the greatest deal of sense, but when you've got like snappy little one-liners coming out of their asses, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. It's a 4.5 out of 5 from me. I genuinely wanted to give it a 5, but in all good conscience, I guess I just couldn't really do that, because there are a few issues, a few niggles with this film, but for the most part, if you want a good time where you don't have to think about too much and just be entertained by guns and a little bit of violence, that is this movie. Under Fire is that movie for you. It's the movie that a lot of big budget Hollywood filmmakers keep trying to make, but because they need to appeal to all audiences, they fail ridiculously hard. This movie is everything it wants to be, it's everything it needs to be, and it's everything that the audience that will come to this movie, that will gravitate to this movie, it's everything they want to see. It's my kind of movie, is what I'm trying to say. It's 100% my kind of movie. It feels late 90s, early 2000s. I will continue to watch what this man makes, what he brings to us. Mason Gooding is absolutely on my radar. Dylan Sprouse, you know, you did The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and I believe you were in Riverdale. I'm really sorry if it wasn't you and it was your brother that was in Riverdale. Honestly, I loved you in this, and I now know exactly who Dylan Sprouse is. So yeah, it's a 4.5 out of 5 from me. If you see the movie, please do hit me in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought of this movie. If you thought it was fun, if you think I'm absolutely bang out of order and I'm wrong about every single little thing I've ever said about this film, if you think that, hit me in the comments down below. That's where the conversation will continue, and we can just talk about it down there. I'm always happy and open to talk about things, talk about movies, talk about my thoughts and opinions on movies. And if you want to dive a little bit deeper, we can do all that. But really, I just want to know what people think of this movie. Movies are there to be watched. People pour their heart and soul into these films for people to watch them. So please, just do that. Like, subscribe, ding that notification bell, come back for the next video. If I don't see you in the cinema, I'll see you in the next review.